Right, I'm going to talk to you about accompanying learner drivers. Now, I teach people to drive on a day-to-day basis, and people have varying budgets, so some people can afford 1 hour a week. Some people might want to either a couple of lessons a week if I can accommodate it, or they might have a longer lesson, say 1.5 hours or sometimes 2 hours, which is fine. The ones who have longer lessons will naturally get better at it more quickly. Now, what does help, and I do think it's very helpful, is if a learner driver does have access to a car and they have a family member or a friend who's willing to spend a bit of time with them and accompanying them while they're driving, then that does help massively. Because if you think about it, if somebody has 1 hour a week and they don't have any other practice apart from that, they will learn to drive, they will pass a test, and they will be safe, providing that they do what they're supposed to when they've passed. But it will take longer, and the main reason for that is that they're spending more time away from the car, so it takes the muscle memory longer to develop to a point where the skill level becomes at a level where they don't have to think about what they're doing. And it happens for everybody eventually, but in that case, like I say, it does take longer. So for that reason, I think extra practice is really good. And what I do say to any young learner driver who I teach, if they say, right, I've got my own car, my dad's going to take me out in my car, or my mum's going to take me out, whoever, I always say to them, tell your accompanying driver that they can speak to me, and I'll be happy to talk to them and make sure that we're on the same page when it comes to what they're doing. There's no conflicting ways of teaching, because things have changed. There are variations in teaching methods to what I was taught 30 years ago, and as a trainer I've had to evolve my training methods to suit that. And also the roads are more busy now, and the standard to pass a test is a lot higher, and I think being on the same page is more helpful for definite. And what I also say to accompanying drivers is that you really do need to keep it safe as well. Like, for example, okay, I might be teaching somebody roundabouts, for example. If they're doing basic roundabouts, they can usually do basic junctions. They can do most kind of junction work, traffic meeting. They'll have learnt about priorities. If we're doing roundabouts and we're learning the roundabout skills, I would advise to keep it a level lower. So if we're doing roundabouts, just do junctions, because all the role is of an accompanying driver really is to just get that learner driver more practice in as safe a manner as possible. Because when it comes to learning new skills, it's best done professionally. I've got the dual controls, and I've also got the experience to get somebody out of a situation. I can see a situation develop and I can get them out of it more quickly, and that is just basic safety. So for another example is, let's say if they've developed onto roundabouts and they've got roundabouts down quite well, the basic ones, and then we then covering dual carriageway multi-lane roundabouts, don't attempt to go near the dual carriageways and multi-lane roundabouts until that learner driver's had a lot more practice, and like by that time they'd probably be getting up for test standard anyway. So working with the instructor really does help. Now, what I do find is that most accompanying drivers, usually parents, will do what I've said. They will work with me, and what they do is very beneficial, and that makes all the difference to the amount of time that it takes that young person to learn to drive. And it also makes a massive difference to how safe they are when they've passed as well, because they've not only gained more muscle memory, they've gained more experience. So anybody who's doing that, and doing it with the instructor. Keep up the good work, because you're doing your part in making the roads safer. Please, just please work with the instructor.